family member that they feel cares at all for them.
Eating from the garbage bins, sharing food with the dogs.
I feel the street environment is so cruel to children. The most cruel is when they take away their lives. But cruel in terms of they somehow make them anonymous. And children should never be anonymous.
My name is Rita Nkemba, and I am the founder and executive director of Dwelling Places, which is an organization that looks after street children, abandoned babies, and high-risk slum families. When I was growing up, I used to see many children on the streets. But although I used to see street children, I never used to see them. So I feel that God gave me such big spectacles and put them on my eyes and made me really see street children. And my heart just broke for these children. I went out on the streets, walked, and found how really simple it was that these children who were on the streets were real. They were not numbers. They had dreams.
I'm Marsley Campbell. I'm from Graver in the Isle of Lewis and also Portree in the Isle of Skye. And I'm here in Kampala, Uganda, working as a nurse with this Ugandan organisation. We estimate there's about 10,000 children currently on the streets in various parts of the country, but predominantly most of them are here in the capital city of Kampala. We're a Christian NGO, a non-governmental organisation, seeking to help rescue these children from the street environment. We have to look at a lot of issues related to that, understanding why the children come to the streets, what their life is like on the streets, and how best to help them, not just short term, but really addressing a lot of long-term issues as well. That little boy that I got the phone call about, Opio, the one who has sickle cell, and he's really sick. He's been admitted to hospital. We do daytime outreaches on the streets of Kampala here. We also do night outreaches where a group of us go out from around 10 p.m, 11 midnight. We usually come back about 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. All of those aspects are relationship building. We don't immediately take a child from the streets. There are so many, and we have to get to know the children. We have to get to know what scenarios each of them come from, and we develop profiles on each of the children. And also, quite rightly, the children have to get to know us and know whether to trust us or not. So we help the children out in a variety of ways. We've developed programs, the rescue program, the rehabilitation program, reconciliation and resettlement. Because we aim, as much as we desire the children to live off the streets in a place of safety and protection, we recognise that it's important for our children to be resettled back to their own families and communities if possible. This is a boy who has sickle cell anemia and a sickle crisis. He was very sick with a crisis yesterday, so this is kind of the after effect. We want to address health in terms of holistic health, so that we're not just meeting their physical needs, but their mental and emotional and spiritual needs as well. We've developed this interim school for the initial time when the children come off the streets before they're able to manage mainstream education. So the teachers help us, not just with the day-to-day sicknesses that the children may have, and they can tell us about it. If the children have any specific educational needs, that we're able to help address them. Singing and dancing with joy, together in marching forth, Uganda. have many children who are young teenagers, and going back to their families hasn't possibly been working well. They may be too old for foster care. So we help them in, first of all, a semi-independent life, looking at what areas of interest they have, sometimes in vocational skills, welding, mechanics, carpentry. For the girls, sometimes tailoring or cookery, those kind of things. And helping them access training to lead into an independent life and employment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now we see, and God has called us to a mission that is the same but slightly different, that focuses on a specific group of people called the Karamojong that are found on the northeast of Uganda.
We're in the Karamoja region of Uganda, northeast Uganda. It's quite a large region for the country of Uganda, and we're particularly in the Napak district. We're close to a village called Kangoli. Now, the Napak district is important to us in regard to the work of dwelling places, because currently on the streets, 80% of children on the streets of Kampala are coming from this district. Chris is our social worker. He and Betty are Karamojong speaking, so it makes such a big difference to the work here in Napak, in Karamoja, that there are people from their area who understand their culture and who speak their language and obviously care about Karamoja, and a great desire for them to come back to their own region.
So you remember
Why would a child move away from a home environment to the streets? For those in Karamoja, for those struggling with extreme levels of poverty, where there is literally no food, where there is chronic drought, leading to chronic famine. It's the desperation for food sometimes is the push factor. And even within home environments, the levels of abuse that there are that would push a child away from that home environment, because they either feel they cannot survive physically, or the trauma of that abuse just culminates to a desperation to get away from there. When sometimes you can see hundreds, if not thousands, of children, and then they become more real. You get to know who they are, you get to know their ages, you get to know their names, of course. You get to know a bit about their background. And very quickly with children, you'll get to know their characters. We have such a responsibility for our children. Our babies and toddlers and young children on the streets are not able to speak out to the world, but I feel they should. But we have the privilege of speaking on their behalf, to talk about the reality of what is happening and how wrong it is. I've been here for 10 years, and I've seen children that are now in university or in employment, and children that were incredibly sick and we didn't know if they were going to survive, and they're healthy and well. It's amazing.
It's exciting because for me it looks like the book of Exodus of people coming from a land of bondage. You know, the children of Israel came from a land of bondage. And yes, they might go through the wilderness, but there is that place, the promised land, which is their place to call home.